Welcome to Punky's Pro Wrestling. I know I said that I was going to wait for the wrestling news until after the season finale of Dark Side of the Ring, but I've got 3 pages here, and that'll turn into an epic if I wait. So I decided to do a wrestling news update. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, now back to being Austin Creed, are going to be on the upcoming Jericho Cruise, which is in November, which is fueling speculation that they'll be joining AEW. Bayley may be done with WWE. She hasn't appeared, and talks have, I guess, not gone well. Amazing Red will be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame at Slammiversary in October. That is TNA's sort of WrestleMania. For those of you unfamiliar with TNA. The Switchblade Jay White and his wife are expecting their very first child. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. White. Chelsea Green has a broken orbital bone, but she is the current interim WWE Women's Champion, and it looks like she's going to have to, they're not stripping her of it even though she can't defend it, but she's going to have to get cleared to defend it. Next month, I believe. So, we'll see. Nakamura is back in WWE. He is on the SmackDown brand. Shinsuke's little promos say, "I'm not coming alone." So, there is some speculation on what Japanese wrestler he might be bringing with him. I don't want to try to pronounce it. But it's not Okada. It's Okashiata? Something like that. I'm sorry. My pronunciation is miserable, but I know what I want to say, but my pronunciation is miserable. Jim Ross had brain surgery to drain excess fluid. He should have been discharged last Friday. He spent the first couple of days in ICU. Obviously. Rhea Ripley just had knee surgery and will be out at least until the Royal Rumble. They're hoping to get her back for the Royal Rumble, but we'll see what her knee decides. AEW turned down Jesse James, Road Dogg. He said because of his conservative political views. He's MAGA. And he allegedly was in talks with TNA as well, and that stalled. Well, of course that stalled. They have a working relationship with WWE. They're not going to bring in somebody that WWE just tossed out. Ow. Ow. I do feel bad for him, though. And they're all missing out because he's brilliant. He's a second-generation wrestler with just a brilliant mind for the business. So, it's unfortunate. I do believe being MAGA can cause these issues. And I should mention that he is a Gulf War vet. So, thank you for your service, Jesse. or Brian James. In other news, Slick had a heart attack and had open heart surgery. He's recovering in ICU, doing well. I can't remember Slick's real name. But anyway, when Slick left the World Wrestling Federation back in the day, he retired from wrestling and became an ordained minister. So he's now Reverend. He made it to, like I said, they said he made it to the hospital, had open heart surgery, and is doing well. He's in ICU. Probably actually CCU, which is the cardiac care unit, which is a cardiac, it's a form of intensive care, but it's specifically for the heart. Certainly prayers for his wife, his family. This news came from Stan Stasiak's son, and from the wife of the one-man gang who he managed when he wasn't the one-man gang. When he was, shoot, what did they call him? The one-man gang, what did they call him? He was supposed to be this, African dude. Oh, Akeem, the African Dream. So, here he is. That's what he looked like when Slick managed him. That is so funny. Anyway. Let me see Slick's name. Well, he's not a wrestler, but okay. Kenneth Wayne Johnson. Oh, he was the first African-American manager in WWE history. What do you know? 86 to 93. He was there for 7 years. He is? Huh. I didn't know that. Slick was the son of Rufus R. Jones. I did not know that. It's a little Slick trivia for you. So he was second generation in the business. And the first African American manager, which is pretty cool. So yeah, certainly prayers for Reverend Johnson. Okay, next up. There's been a big controversy surrounding AJ Styles' son, Avery Styles Jones. Now, apparently, they wanted Avery to set up the ring. And AJ pointed out, well, let's start from the beginning. Natty said that she liked the way he was paying his dues, or that he wanted to pay his dues. I'll explain what Natty meant, since no one else bothered to explain what Natty meant. The person that came the closest was Dutch Mantel. What Natty meant when she said that was that he's coming up through the indies, he's working his way towards something. He's not using his last name and bursting through the door at NXT and bursting his way to the top at 19. He's paying his dues by working on the indies, growing as a performer, and getting better before he goes to NXT, which AJ's clearly said he's not ready for. That's what she was talking about. Unfortunately, when she said that about paying his dues, one of the other wrestlers who was at the Game Changer Wrestling show said L-O-F-N-L, and that's how he wrote it. He didn't write the word out. He didn't even set up the chairs or the ring or anything. If I'm going to be in that ring, I don't want a 19-year-old kid setting it up, first of all. That should be done by people who actually know how to do it. But anyway. And yes, a lot of wrestlers will say, yeah, we set up the ring. But not all wrestlers did. As Stevie Richards pointed out, he said, I didn't set up the ring. He said, that being said, if I saw one of the ring guys struggling with one of the big posts, I'd grab the other end and help him if I had a minute, you know. But for him, that was more being polite. And that really is Stevie. And being kind, not paying his dues. Paying your dues is what you do in the ring. The old timers that paid their dues didn't pay their dues setting up the ring. Some of them did set up the ring, like Bobby Eaton, so that he could run in it and practice in it and stuff like that. So some of the guys would do that, so they had an opportunity before the doors opened to practice before they were ever allowed to wrestle. But they did that specifically so they could practice and so they could be around the boys. But paying your dues in the old days meant getting the crap beat out of you by the older wrestlers. Sometimes getting something broken or getting stretched. That's paying your dues in the old days. AJ is training his son, and I'm sure he's getting stretched. I'm sure he's getting, tough training. And that's the way it should be. Training shouldn't be easy in wrestling. Because once you get in the ring as a rookie, it's not going to be easy. Especially if you're second generation. Yikes. And so it turned into an argument online. And AJ said he was paid to wrestle, not set up the ring, you douche. Things like that. And it just... And Stevie Richards made a point, which I made earlier, which is there are certain guys that will help set up the ring, but he doesn't trust them. And he used to sit and watch them because he didn't trust them to do it right, to do it tight enough not to hurt someone. And believe me, they've had those mistakes happen. Sometimes it's planned, like with Andre, they leave something loose and let Andre fall through for dramatic, the ropes for dramatic effect or something, but I've seen the top rope come loose and land Chris Jericho flat on his face. Which probably wasn't too comfy. And he talked about the fact that that was embarrassing. More than anything, I think because he didn't jump right up immediately, there was a little bit of concern, because he came face down, hair spread out, and it took him a minute to get back up. He lifted his head, he kind of looked around, then he got back up. Even Dustin was concerned, because you'll see Dustin's so freaking tall, reach up and grab the second rope and pull himself back up onto the apron, because the top rope was gone. It gave way under Jericho, and I'm sure that was not pretty when he got backstage. So you can't have wrestlers doing that. I'm sorry. That's what happens. You need to make sure those things are tight. There's a crew for that. Could you set up chairs at an indie event and take down chairs at an indie event? Yeah, you could. If the promoter himself asked you to. But this guy named Eric is saying that a 20-year pro asked him to. Asked Avery to, and Avery hid in the locker room. Ow, fudge. Hoping that feels so much better after surgery. But anyway, JBL says, I'd just make a storyline out of it. You could. You know? A lot of people are saying, not a big deal. You know? And some people are saying, why is AJ fighting his son's battles? Well, because AJ's the pro. Because AJ's a pro and a veteran. And what he says has more weight. Avery's better off staying out of it. And he's been smart to stay out of it completely. Although I'm sure he and his dad have talked about it privately. So, anyway. 2 more pieces of news. Haku is back in WWE as a manager for his sons, who are the new tag team champions. And last but not least, Santino Marella wants to wrestle again, so his 7-year-old can see him live. He's TNA Director of Authority right now, and his daughter, Ariana Grace, is the Knockouts champion. So she must have left NXT and went to TNA. So that is where we are at. That's a lot of news. But it's all the news that is news. So. And do not forget, next Wednesday we will have the season finale of Dark Side of the Ring review, which is Zach Gowen. So do check that out. And I will see you then. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Please subscribe if you love pro wrestling, especially old school pro wrestling. And please hype if you can. Like I said, I don't know if there's a magic subscription number you need to reach before you get a hype button. If somebody could let me know that, that would be helpful. Bye, guys. God bless you.